Feels like I'm walking on sunshine.
All right, welcome to DoomCast number 10. We've hit the double digits. My name's Charlie Mcgrath. My website's wideawakenews.com. I'm, of course, joined by the co-founder of DoomCast, Doug Owen. His website is blacklistednews.com. And once a week we come together and bring, for your entertainment, DoomCast. And I want to welcome everybody. I want to apologize for a day later. You know, we're really hit and miss on this. And I'll say something I said a while back. You know, sometimes Doom comes in the way of DoomCast. And, that's exactly what happened to me yesterday, and I'll get into that in a second. The stories I'm bringing to the program, I'm starting with tonight, Doug, or we could talk about it in any order. I don't care. I just uploaded a video. I am talking about Big Pharma cutting 16,000 jobs just in one company. I want to talk about that a little bit. I want to talk about the shooting, the crazy phenomenon of having a media, an establishment media, literally salivate, and I mean, it's almost erotic how they get when there's some kind of event that goes on, especially if it involves cops shooting the hell out of somebody. We want to talk about that a little bit. I want to talk about the government.
It's almost too delicious to believe, my friend.
You're gross. All right, and I also want to talk about the shutdown. Who cares? And how this has been done before, and how this is just a scare tactic, and how it's really paving the way. You know what? I think they're trying to pull something. They're trying to do a debt ceiling increase without calling it a debt ceiling increase. We're going to focus on the shutdown until enough people are pissed they can't get to Yellowstone Park, so that they do a massive continuing resolution of $1 trillion plus an increase of the debt ceiling at the same time. All right.
It's a madhouse in D.C. You got the truck drivers trying to shut it down, the government shutting down. You have Obamacare, and the exchanges to get your Obamacare have been shutting down. They're even trying to entice people with smartphones into buying into it. So there's a lot of epic fails that are happening. Also, the shooting at the White House today, I definitely wanted to talk about that because it's very, very curious. It is too delicious to believe. And there's a lot of others.
It's super delicious.
And I want to talk about this Iranian cyber warfare commander who's been shot dead.
Oh, I want to hear about that. And Doug, I'm gonna kind of lean on you because I'm gonna share my doom, my 24 hours of doom, with everybody, and I'm gonna kind of lean on you because I'm gonna be completely honest with you. The last since yesterday at 10 o'clock in the morning until right now have been a completely awake, blinding blur for me. With the only information that I've received on what's going on in this country has come from my smartphone, and I really had an attitude over the last day of I don't really care. I don't care if D.C. and California fall into the oceans. I don't care if the world comes to a crashing halt because I was truly in the midst of doom. Now, I'm going to share this story, and a lot of you are going to think it's not a big deal unless you're a parent. And Doug, do you have kids? You don't have kids.
Not yet.
Okay, but you have a dog that you love a lot. So let's pretend you can use that as the straw man here.
Okay.
My boy wakes up. My boy has a football game on let's see, what was yesterday? Wednesday. So Tuesday night. He wakes up in the middle of the night on early Wednesday morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and he's complaining of a stomach ache and he's very nauseous and like flu-type symptoms. And so, he stays home from school, and I'm thinking, well, it's just a flu, and he'll be fine. Or maybe he got whacked at the football game. He's a linebacker, so, maybe he had a rough tackle. And anyway, so 10 o'clock in the morning rolls around. He calls me, and he's like, Dad, man, something ain't right. This ain't right. This isn't flu. It hurts really, really bad. I don't know, but, my kid's pretty smart, 13 years old, and he can tell that this kind of pain isn't normal.
He's not a faker? He doesn't usually fake, try to get out and going to school?
No, never. He's never done that. And I hope he never picks up that habit, but I think he likes going to school more than he likes sitting at home, to be honest. Well, he's a social bug.
Yeah.
So
he's out there mixing and mingling with the ladies, hanging out.
13, man, he knows a few girls now. So yeah, he wants to go, show his latest kicks off or whatever kids say these days.
Right.
Anyhow,
right.
I come home, pick him up, I take him to an urgent care. I want to check out. Well, and this is where it gets really doomy and really, really scary for me. The doctor there, who I know, he's like, hey, he pulls me out of the room, Charlie. I'm doing a blood test. I'm going to see where his white blood cells are, but I'm really concerned. He's got a ruptured appendix, and that's where it started. It just went into this. Holy crap! My kid needs emergency surgery, and you know what? There's people that are going to hear that and say, you know what, Charlie, appendectomies, they're a dime a dozen. They happen every day, and you know what? That's true. That is true. But it doesn't matter. It might as well be open heart surgery if it's your kid. Now, if it was me, I don't care, whatever. But if it's your kid, I would imagine your spouse would be the same. You are freaking out, and I've never had to deal with that situation. I've been in combat. I've seen people killed. I've seen friends killed. But I've never had like my son have to go under a knife. And where I really went into the doom zone, Doug Owen, is we wheeled from. It was all emergency, all of it. So we had to go to emergency room, do a CAT scan. That was 3 hours long, and then it was emergency surgery. And when they made me leave him, going from the hallway into the surgery room, is when I realized how effed up I was at that moment. Did I swear? No, I said effed up. How effed up I was at that moment, and it was an hour and a half surgery, and again. Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's an appendectomy, and in most cases, they're,
No, it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal.
Well,
everything's going along fine. You don't think there's any problems, and next thing you know, you're in an ER. I mean, it flips your world all around. It puts everything that you have going on, all the worries and all of those things, on hold immediately, indefinitely.
Indefinitely is it, and that's why I said I had my phone there, but I don't think I looked at it more than 2 or 3 times because I didn't. At that point, I didn't care. I didn't care what happened as long as.
So we'll get to test your knowledge and see what kind of news updates and how accurate those were.
Well, they're going to be horrible. They're going to be horrible.
Are you using the Fox News app? I mean, what's going on over there on your smartphone?
No, I use my direct favorite to Wide Awake News, of course, which Bonnie was great, and she put up some. She did some aggregation for me this morning, and of course your website. So I check mainly them. I have Drudge on there too, and I know he's hard site to navigate in, but I like the way he does it. I like that simple. You and I've talked about that before. Yeah. And I like that simple black and white. Bam, you see the headline you want.
Man, I'm worried we're about to unleash the first real change up in the template of blacklistednews.com that's ever.
Is it what I know? So. Is it what I? See, what you've showed me? I mean, I have an idea what?
Yeah, you have an idea. Yeah, I think you do.
I like it.
It's not going to look any. Oh, you know what? I sent you one of those graphics. No, it's not going to look anything like that. You'll see. It's going to still. You'll know that you're at blacklistednews.com, but it's a huge concern. It's a very big concern because I'm like, I don't, because people get used to something. It's like Drudge Report. You think about that, you're like, how ugly is that site? And it's been like that forever. And people go to it so much that it's now like the 54th biggest website on the internet.
200 million hits a month. It's crazy.
Crazy.
But it is, you could do all kinds of fancy crap with your website. You could do all kind. I mean, you know that. Yeah, you know that, Doug. I mean, you could make it as layered and as many links and as much animation as you want. And a lot of people do that. I mean, there's a lot of alt sites that do that. Right. And to me, it's maybe we should put that question out there. Is the more layered and the more difficult it is, the less I want to go back to it. I go to your site, and I always have, because of the simplicity.
Yeah.
Bam! I can see ahead, and that's why I go to Drudge.
I turn down good pop-up money all the time, just a little inside baseball. People would pay $500, $600, $700 a month if I would pop up these ads in people's browsers on their phones, and I hate it because they're just so invasive. I mean, banners, display ads, no big deal, and you're going to find them everywhere. But when it starts chasing you around and popping up and talking when you don't want it to, that's just
right. And some of them you go to and you can't figure out how to get out of it. Maybe the X out button doesn't show up for 30 seconds or something, so you're forced. But I don't ever go back to those. If that happens to me once, Doug, I mean, I just don't go back.
If they beg me for likes too quickly, I immediately kind of convulse. I'm like, oh, I haven't even read the article, and you're already blacking the site out, asking me to.
Is it like a girl who calls too much? She's too aggressive?
No, it's like
wants too much too fast.
No, it's not aggression. It's just nagging. It's like you like.
Yeah.
I'm like I don't even know you. I can't
Yeah,
tell you I love you yet.
It's smothering.
It is smothering.
I am the best girlfriend you've ever had, ain't I, Doug? Ain't I, Doug?
Jeez,
Doug, where were you? Where were you? I tried to text you 5 times, Doug. Where were you?
I was outside dealing with my taste of doom today that I had today. I had a little brush with Doom myself. Go outside with the Doomer dog, as you've named her, Chili Dog, and everything's going fine. I've got a tennis ball in my hand. She's excited. Immediately turns and does a 180 and shoots, or really a 90, and shoots directly towards the north behind the house. And I was like, oh, my God. So I ran, because I know she's after something. She has that killer instinct, and immediately something is drawing her attention. I look. Once I get there, it takes me about, 2 seconds. She's in a cat fight and has this cat. The cat tries to go over the privacy fence. She swats the cat down. So I go over there and immediately grab her, and the cat got the better of my leg here. And about an hour before the show here, I was mending my wounds and dealing with that, and hoping that I'm not getting toxoplasmosis or cat scratch fever.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm just happy it wasn't an angry Russian beaver, because you'd be dead right now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You just never know what's going to happen, because your own animal, your own dog, or whatever it may be, might bite you as well in the process.
Yeah, but I mean,
but she was cool.
That's
she was
a risk
cool,
you gotta
and
take.
yeah, well, or you're going to have a bloodbath, and she's going to probably have to go to the vet once the cat scratches her eyes out, because she's somewhat domesticated. So she's not that tough. All right, so your son's okay though. He's come out. There's a happy ending in the story, right?
No, yes. For my son and his health, he did great in it, and he got to come home tonight. So it was everything went like you want it to go.
Right.
So now I'm just waiting for the shock and awe of emergency appendectectomy, because I'm you know what, we should make wagers on how much that's going to cost.
Oh. Yeah. Did you sign up for your Obamacare? We'll find out. It's a mystery. It mystifies us as to what you pay for those.
Maybe
kind of things.
Maybe they'll all be free. Who knows?
Don't hold your breath. And you never know who might end up with the information. Here's a little segue. Minnesota Obamacare Exchange leaks private information to 2,400 people. Just one example, and you were talking about the perfect storm there, the perfect distraction. This story that is just bugging the hell out of me is this woman that was shot and killed at the Capitol today. Did you see?
Yeah.
So what did you hear about that? What did you initially hear on your smartphone? This is what I want to test you on.
All right. I'm going to tell you everything I know about it.
Okay.
A lady was trying to evade police. She almost ran some over. They lit her up, and the car was surrounded by cops, and nobody could see there was a 1-year-old baby on board. And they killed the driver. They got the baby out. That's it, Doug. That's all I know.
Okay, so you didn't hear what I heard. When I was driving home about 3 p.m. today, I listened to the Fox Fair and Balanced report, the 5-minute or 60-second news bite. It was a woman had fired a shot at the White House, and the White House was on lockdown, and that was the first thing that I heard. So I was like, "Oh, great! Here we go. We have a crazed shooter," and that was out there on the AM dial for about an hour, and now we just have a correction. She was unarmed. So first she was armed. She was shooting. Now we find out, well, she was unarmed. She didn't have a gun. She didn't shoot anybody. And yeah, I mean, vehicular. But here's the caveat. Here's the thing that's kind of weird. Okay, they had a first responder drill going on in the area today. So the White House was littered with Secret Service, Capitol Police. Everybody was on high alert, and we just happened to have another crazy person from Connecticut going wild. And I mean, we will probably find out about, you mentioned the pharmaceutical industrial complex, maybe that she was on some kind of crazed drugs, but it's just the sensationalism that happened with the media today. Oh, they were just frothing because they've been scaring people with the shutdown of government. Now we have, people attacking government and the Congress and, all the staffers and the members there that on the Hill, they applauded this. They were giving standing ovations on TV for them executing this lady.
Yeah. What I saw was, sorry, I was clearing my throat there. What I saw didn't indicate that she had a gun. But that was later in the day. It was like 5 o'clock my time, which would be 6 o'clock your time, before I even was aware of the story. That's how far behind the news I am. But they had plenty of video that they were putting out of what looks like a joint terrorism task force surrounding her vehicle, and she hits the gas and tries to flee, and they killed her. It was the top story on Fox when I right before I sat down to do this. But will this get played into yet another? We have to get. I talked about this when you and I did. I think it was DC 7 or 6 maybe, where they're going to use these type of events to get, if she had a gun or not, and so it's kind of irrelevant to this story, but they're going to use these type of events in order to try to limit the ability of an American to exercise their Second Amendment if they are deemed to be, by who knows what kind of panel, not fit mentally to own a gun. And it's going to be connected with, I can almost guarantee it, with these big pharmaceutical companies and some kind of antidepressant or some kind of drug that they're being issued that might have potentially a side effect of suicidal thoughts or whatever. But
they're all warned. I mean, that's the warning on all of these psycho drugs, is that you might go psycho.
You might go psycho, and if so as we move forward, digitalizing our health records, and the IRS, the government, everybody is going to be deep into our personal business when it comes to this. I could certainly foresee a time in the very near future where, if you were on or have ever been on Paxil or Zoloft or any of those antidepressants, serotonin reuptake inhibitors, then guess what? You're not getting a gun, and you're put into a different class of citizen. And some people might not care, but we need to understand that the vast majority of the people in this country are on at least one pharmaceutical drug. It doesn't mean it's an antidepressant, but the momentum for a drugged up, drugged down nation is certainly been in place for quite some time, Doug.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, and we have a drugged up and whacked out government as well. The fine lawmakers were drunk as we went into the never-ending abyss of bankruptcy. But there's not that, they said that the government shut down, but 86% of it is still up and operational. And apparently there's still plenty of guards there at the White House and Capitol Police that have not been sequestered. But the CTFC regulators, the derivatives regulators, the people that watch the market, they're out to lunch. So it's very fortunate for people like Jamie Dimon, who, well, before all of this insanity, were on the hot seat. Well, not that he's probably on the hot seat. Let me rephrase this. He's at least making a deal in secret, unprecedentedly, with Eric Holder behind closed doors, which is illegal on a lot of levels. It's just apparent, raw, naked robber baron capitalism.
That's right. It is. It's morally wrong. Even if they're managed to say it's legal for them to cut these kind of deals, it's certainly morally wrong, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that most people, Doug Owen, they don't know and probably don't care. But that's why in the video I put out tonight, and I might have said it at the beginning of the program, I don't know, but we are certainly seeing a perfect storm of governed by crisis events. We have the shutdown of the government. We have Obamacare. We have a debt ceiling. We have immigration. Everything is culminating at the same time. And that is a little bit different than what we've been treated to over the last decade or so. Usually, we'll have a debt ceiling debate, It'll go on for a little bit, and we'll get close to it, and then they'll just raise it up, $1 trillion or $1.5 trillion, and then we'll have it a year down the road. We'll have a budget battle where we need a continuing resolution, another $1 trillion to keep the government going, but it won't be coinciding with the debt ceiling. But now it seems everything is coming together. So a lot of people feel that there's an October surprise coming, and it very well could be. Last time I made a prediction, though, I had to listen to that stupid crow. So I'm not going to make a prediction.
Yeah, well, you might still have to listen to the stupid crow.
Yeah, there it is.
There it is.
Why don't you send your dog out to get that thing? Get the Doom dog on the trail of that thing.
Well, it just circles you, Charlie Mcgrath, at the moment.
Yeah, it's right around.
It's quite out of the reach of.
It's quite Doom. Wait a minute, you don't think any of this is a karma thing, right? Like, because we're talking doomy stuff all the time. That doom is kind of lurking around us.
I don't know. Do you think we're manifesting the doom that we're actually feeling in our own lives and experiencing in the tangible, three-dimensional world?
That's a great question. And I don't know, but if it is, I need some kind of a locket or trinket or something to ward off such doomy entities. Because I don't want to deal with them anymore. I'm tired of them.
I need a crystal or something, maybe some
yes.
argon.
Ooh, what is that?
Argon.
Argon gas?
No, argon. Yeah, it's a lot to explain, but you can.
Yeah, don't
Google
do it.
But it's these pyramids, and they make
okay.
fun of them,
Yeah.
and people put them on their heads and sleep inside of them, and it channels energy.
Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about now.
Allegedly, but I don't know. I don't dismiss it, but I haven't done it, so I don't know. But anyway,
well, bring on the doom, because regardless,
there's a lot of people that do it though. I've heard a lot of people that are proselytized and say great things about it. Magnets and things like the Rife machine, Royal
right.
Raymond Rife, and the frequencies and being able to use frequencies. And I think there seems like there's some legitimate science to it, but. Yeah, I don't want to be a barker for things either,
Well, that, you and I talked about this when you came on with me Tuesday.
Right.
A little bit. I don't think we talked on air, maybe off air. I talked a little bit about colloidal silver, and my good friend and Monday host, Diane Everett Snyder, sent me a care package for my congestion and everything, and in it was colloidal silver and some great tea. And
whatever you're doing, it doesn't sound good, my friend. So
it's way better. What my voice is? Well, you know what? I think stress is probably a part of what you're hearing now. But
okay.
I had no voice at all for 3 days, and it was really really hoarse coming out of it.
So this is a testimony that it works, or
no? I can't give it. I want to give Dinah. I mean, she was great for sending it to me, but you know what? It's I didn't touch it in the last 2 days because of what I've been dealing with my son, and not here, not at home. So I've completely.
I told you about the super silver though. My wife gave it to a friend of ours, and he had a scar from being hit in the head with a pipe at work. He was joking around with some other mechanic buddies, and stupid things at the workplace, boredom that led to a big scar on his head. He put this super silver. It's a gel that my wife buys, and I don't know where she gets it, but put it on his scar, right where he'd been cut for 2 weeks.
Right.
No scar at all. It just completely went away. It was like nothing had happened. It was pretty gnarly. You know what I mean? Because it was an oily pipe or wrench that had hit him, and so it didn't look good.
That's a topical, right? I mean, that is less scary to me than ingesting. And you know what, Karen?
Because of the Blue Man. Because of the Blue Man, the one story. Yeah, he just passed away.
The one story, the blue guy, and it's freaking me out. I have been, except for yesterday and today, I have been taking the recommended dose, and mainly because I've talked to bunches and bunches of people who have tried it and swear by it, and none of them are blue. So I think in his case, how much did he take, Doug? I mean, was he like pounding this stuff like water?
We really don't know. Only he knows what he was really eating, ingesting. So,
well,
and maybe it could have been some other byproduct. I mean, I don't know. I would just say that with anything, always in moderation, right?
Yeah. So when you're ingesting silver, do it in moderation.
Seems like a healthy way to try something out and see if it works for you.
Well, too much of anything, by its the definition, too much is too much.
It's true.
Too much water will kill you. You can't drink 2 gallons of water in one sitting, or you're going to die.
Tylenol, acetaminophen, they're going through this big battle right now with it, saying, wow, this is killing, more people than heroin, cocaine, illicit drugs, as well as pharmaceuticals alike that are prescription. You can buy it over the counter. Now, with other things, not so much, but, if a 10-year-old could buy an aspirin at the store. There's no regulation over it whatsoever. And people that, just don't have any better sense. And I've been there hungover, wanting to eat 5 Tylenol and thinking, oh, it's no big deal. It's not going to kill me. And boom, you're on the floor.
Well, you know what? I used to run back before my asthma days. I used to do a lot of endurance runs, a lot of high-altitude trail runs, marathon, 26-mile type distance stuff. And very, very very much acid buildup, and you're extremely sore afterward. And some of these endurance runs, there's so much downhill and uphill that's really aggressive that I've been to the point where I couldn't walk up a flight of stairs or down because I was just in too much pain. And I abused ibuprofen like it was coming from the Mexican cartels. I mean, I would take 20 a day just so I could get up and go to work. And that would last for a couple of days. And all my running buddies did the exact same thing. Well, my asthma/allergy specialist is convinced that is what's given me an allergy to all incense, which ibuprofen is. So is aspirin. So the last time I had a headache, this was like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, I had a headache and I took 2 ibuprofen. Doug, I ended up in the urgent care, and I needed 3 units of epinephrine, or 3 shots of epinephrine. And because I developed this allergy to it because, as I said, my doctor thinks it's because I abused it for so long. So now if I took, and they told me in there, look, if I carry an EpiPen. I've never
heard of people abusing over-the-counter drugs like this before. I just never thought about it.
Well, it wasn't. I wasn't abusing it for a social benefit or for a buzz, but I was abusing it because I wanted to either keep running, or I wanted to recover from a run. And it's certainly not, that's not the way to do it. I mean, and I know you're into running now, and that's certainly, you don't want to use any kind of drug in order to, you're far better off if you finish a big race to go get a massage, and a lot of races have massage tables set up at the end.
Yeah, I don't do anything like that. That stuff is really hard on the body. The hard endurance stuff. So yeah, I do it just for health, just for giggles, just to get some air and some sun, and to get out amongst the people,
the peeps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I commend you for it, and I love running, and I'm seriously I have a withdrawal of it. I lift weights now because I just don't have the cardio I used to. I miss it. But if you're sore, don't go crazy on the Tylenol because it's not good for you.
There's other things you can take, I imagine.
Absolutely. Well, there's other things you can do. Be better prepared. Stretch better, cool down better. Even if you massage your legs yourself when you're done, that works a lot of the acid out of your muscles, so you're not experiencing that kind of pain. But the easy, quick way when you're 25 years old is to take a handful of Ibu and you're feeling no pain.
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess so, man. Yeah, I never thought about that. I always would think there would be some other thing like Oxycontin or something else, and I would never think that you would want to just eat a bunch of ibuprofen.
Well, Oxy will give you that nice little happy feeling.
Right.
So I think that's being abused for that reason.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously Ibu or any other, pain reliever isn't going to give you, I don't think. I mean, have you ever heard of a case of that where somebody takes so much they feel, drugged or happy or drunk or whatever?
Man. All the parties are like, man, I'm just so wasted on ibuprofen right now, man. I'm having a great time. I'm going to go out dancing.
Somebody give me the small dose aspirin. I need a little more.
Yeah. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Man. Don't cut.
All right, I got a story I want to talk about here. Right? What are we doing on time here? We good? We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we're good. A story on like I said, I just put out a video. Our standard living. This is kind of what I'm talking about with perfect storm, perfect crises. Is that a proper word? Crises.
Crises is what I always say.
Is that plural? Crises.
Yeah, okay. It's like geese.
Yeah, gander. That's a male geese. Let me hear the crow. Look at the segue. I just want to see how fast you are bored.
Pretty fast.
You are fast. You showed me your layout there. It's pretty impressive.
I try. I need to get a touch screen, but other than that, I mean, the only limitation is my mouse.
Well, here we go. Perfect storm, crisis on every front. And so I'm, of course, looking for stories that are things that are happening that the establishment isn't talking about. And our standard of living has been declining. There's no hiding that. There's no hiding the fact that we're sitting with 21 million unemployed and 47 million in poverty, 48 million on food stamps. Our debt is out of control. The average family is shouldering $751,000 of sovereign debt, and they just don't even know it. But with all the hullabaloo with shutting down the government, debt ceiling, immigration, Obamacare, I find it interesting that pharmaceutical giant Merck announced that they're going to cut another 8,500 jobs. This is after 7,500 jobs they've cut earlier this year. Now, Doug, Merck, just on the 10th of September, sent a letter to Pelosi and to Bonner saying, please, man, loosen up the immigration policy. We need to have cheaper labor so we can compete in the international pharmaceutical industry, I guess. But they're not alone. HP, Cisco, United Technologies, Cigna, Texas Instruments, and over 100 in total large corporations signed on to this letter begging Congress to get more immigration into this country so they can pay less as they're cutting American jobs. So, this is the kind of thing that is going to be buried under the carpet, just like the enormous amount of people who are in the modern day food bread lines is being not talked about. The good paying jobs are leaving this country. They're being not only leaving, they're being destroyed in this country. And these folks are going to be replaced with somebody who'll do it for $10,000 a year less. And this is the trajectory we have been on, and it's where we're going, Doug.
Well, they should have a lot of employees that are going into the pile there from the government if it's going to shut down and all. So there's going to be plenty of applicants that have degrees. See, this is the problem. We have a society in general here that has been geared for the last 20 years to go to upper level college, not just to learn and to get into fields that require technical fields. If you're a doctor, I'd like you to go to college, probably, for the most part. Most of you
hope.
You hope at least. If you're going to cut my appendix out,
yeah,
I wish you had done it a few more times than just somewhere on an alley somewhere. So
yeah, Grenada.
So yeah, I think that college and education, higher education is great, but
sure, we
don't have a lot of mid-management jobs left in this country, and so we have people that we have a ton of quasi-academics. Mark Faber put it well. He said it's really hard to find a good plumber in New York City, and if you do, you're going to pay $300, $350 an hour. He goes, but I can find a master degreed Harvard graduate who'll work, or maybe even a lawyer, a barred lawyer that'll work for less, much less, $50 an hour, $15 an hour. Maybe we'll look to California and say, you know what, they were right to raise minimum wage, because now everybody's a wage slave and everybody's on minimum wage, and the only way that these kind of crappy jobs can be subsidized, it's not just the money and not just the immigration issue. It's also the welfare state that has to accompany this to allow people to live and to produce in this system. So these people get free Obama phones, or just and that's one that Republicans hearken to. But there's plenty of other examples of subsidies that people have to have because they're getting nothing from the public quasi-private sector, and that is a huge problem. So those huge gaps in education and tooling Americans is pretty great. I mean, I talked to a guy. Here's an example. I had a guy come to my house on a Saturday to do some plumbing. I had a water main break outside my house, and literally, I mean, you could walk on the ground and it was moving. It did this during my podcast. So my live podcast on Saturday mornings was interrupted. So I called this guy in, because I was like, oh, my God, I'm not going to deal with this. I could deal with it, but, I've already tried to fix this thing like 3 times, and it keeps breaking every year or two. The long short of it, this guy charged me $350, and that's a tradesman deal, and I know his buddy. So that's, kind of a homie discount, if you will,
right.
A friend of the business. But he said, I can't get anybody that doesn't have a criminal record that I can hire to do this work. He's like, the kids coming out of high school today and coming out of college, they don't want to dig in the quote-unquote crap. They don't want to deal with, this kind of hard labor. So there's, there's a huge gap between what people in general. Now, that's not, everywhere, and that's not to say that there aren't many Americans that are qualified that would like to do those jobs. But when you look across the board, I don't care where you're at. Somebody needs a good plumber. Somebody needs a great electrician. Those are the kind of things that are indispensable. There's a lot of people that are geared into very not only that, but they're indebted. So you have people that are tens of thousands of dollars in debt, can't find jobs because they're incorrectly tooled.
Student loan debt right now, $1,027,056,839,000, and rising too fast to even count. And you're right, Doug. And I don't think this story is as much talking about, I'm not trying to point out the fact that somehow Americans don't want these jobs. Right. I'm saying that these pharmaceuticals want to cut. Merck is cutting 16,000 jobs, and by their actions on this letter they sent on the 10th of September to Congress, they want to replace these folks, these Americans, regardless of their education, with, I'm assuming, educated immigrants coming in. But these educated immigrants are going to do it for less than these debt-burdened Americans who have the same education. You know
what? It's funny because the guy, this is the whole point of it, and I forgot the best part. He's from England.
Oh.
The guy he's not even American. He's got kids here that are, Americans that have been born here, but he himself is not American. He's like, yeah, I came here because there's lots of great jobs. But you always hear that there's no jobs. There's no jobs at all, Charlie Mcgrath. Apparently there are a lot of jobs, just, do you want to do them? Most people don't. I do some. And it's funny because working in the electrical field, he's like, oh, man, I couldn't do that. That scares the crap out of me. Electricity, I don't want to die.
It's shocking.
It is shocking. It could be. Yeah. It could be an electrifying experience.
It has been. You are in that business, right?
I am, indeed.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something. I got a story for you. I almost died once. And I'm not even kidding you. I really think I was close to death, and you tell me you're an electrician. And I've always been told 120 is what will kill you. 220, it's just going to blow you off the wall, and you're not going to be connected to whatever you tapped into. So you're probably safer actually accidentally touching a 220 outlet because it's just going to blast you apart, or blast your hand off it. And 120 will just kind of hold on to you and tickle you a little bit. But I was putting
incorrect.
All right. Well, you can square me away, but let me finish my story.
Okay.
I was replacing. I built a house and I was setting countertops. It was wall-to-wall countertop, and I couldn't slide them in because the outlets were in the way. So I took the covers off, and I pulled the outlet out. And like an idiot, I'm thinking I know what I'm doing, so I don't have to worry about shutting down the breaker, which would have taken me all of 3 seconds to do. I unscrew it, pull out the receptacle, and you have the black and white wire in the back. And I grabbed my Leatherman instead of my lineman pliers, which I also have in a tool bag that was 3 feet away. But I just take my Leatherman out, and I start pulling on the insulation on the black and red wire. My hand goes around, touches the screws on one side. My Leatherman breaks through the insulation. So now I have this awesome circuit from my left hand all the way through my shoulder, back through my right hand, back to that wire. And I locked onto that thing. I mean, I grabbed it with both hands as hard as I could because I had no choice. Fortunately for me, my cousin was there. And at first he thought I was kidding. But he finally started to fall backwards, then grabbed me and pulled me off of it.
Wow.
That was a very scary moment.
Yeah, you almost died there, Charlie Mcgrath.
Yeah,
the reason that 120 is so dangerous is because it alternates, and so it makes you grab it. It makes your muscles contract because it's going from positive to negative. So it really makes you almost paralyzed. And the best thing you can do is just drop your knees and try to fall away from it if that ever happens to you. 220 is just 2 120 circuits that are out of phase. So if it's 480, 277, any of those voltages, those will blow the hell out of you, but they'll still kill you. They'll cook you. So and most people don't die from the electricity itself. They die from the fall or the impact of hitting a wall when they're blown off of those higher voltages. So it's not the electricity; it's the fact that you go flying through the air and hit your head
It isn't the airplane falling out of the sky that kills you. It's the sudden stop.
That's true. That is exactly true.
That's
so,
kind of the deal.
Yeah. But I'm glad that you didn't die and you learned a valuable lesson.
I did. Don't be an idiot. Turn off the breaker box. Come on, it ain't that hard. And don't, and I'd wired that house, so you get cocky with it, and I'm sure electricians get cocky with it all the time, at least the dumb ones, and then they get smart.
Yeah. It didn't take me long.
All right, here I've got
war stories, but we're not going to share them today.
We're not. We got tons of time. We got, I guess we got 20 minutes or so left.
But I mean, we've already got one almost electrocution story here.
Yeah, how close was I to death, Doug? I mean, because it was
How long
right.
Were you locked on that circuit?
Well, it felt like about an hour and a half, but in reality, I was probably on there no more than 3 to 4 seconds. That's my cousin grabbing me, pulling me off after he realized I was shaking real. I wasn't faking. I was really being zapped. So probably 3 seconds, 4 seconds.
Yeah, really good, really good. I mean, once you get on there and it starts really shaking you, I mean, that's just bracking your heart.
Yeah.
Did you go on a heart monitor afterwards, or you just?
No, I finished installing the counter, but I did go, and where I learned the 220 was less dangerous, which obviously was wrong, is I had to go the next day to a chiropractor to adjust my neck because it is so contorted, the muscles in my shoulders that I was all out of whack. So, and he put himself through chiropractic. I'm doing air quote. Chiropractic medical school, being an electrician. So,
yeah,
obviously he was wrong though.
Yeah, there's a lot of urban legends. You hear that, and I mean, if you go across two hot wires, obviously that's going to be a lot more voltage, and it's going to be in opposite polarity, so it's more likely to push you than really to kind of let you grab on and just hang on it. But either way, you can get it caught in the circuit. It's going to make your muscles contract. So don't do that, kids. Watch out. Watch out. Don't put your finger in the outlet. It's not a good idea.
Most people just don't realize how close they are to something like that. The kid,
Odd enough, it really does. A lot of it and how severe it is really has a lot to do with your conductivity. A buddy of that I work with, he can touch 120. It doesn't bother him at all. And when he actually meter him, we actually have an imp meter. When you meter him, his resistance is 10 times higher than my resistance. Literally.
That is crazy. What is that? Just bought chemical makeup or what? Maybe it's
alkalinity. Obviously,
a lot of things. Silver.
a lot of it's also, I would imagine. I don't know all of the factors to be honest, but I speculate that water content, but a lot of it would be alkalinity.
That's interesting. So he can grab onto a 120, your regular outlet.
Mm-hmm. It does not go through him. He does not conduct it. No.
Does it in his hand at least? I mean, does he get that?
It doesn't tinkle. Like I can touch 24 volts. I don't feel anything. He touches it. He doesn't feel anything. But some people can feel it. They actually feel the tingle. Or touching, telephone lines, you can feel that tingle. Or there's 90 volts AC that rings through them. That's why on standard old POTS lines, you can get a nice little zap there from those things because they actually have 90 volts, and there's a lot of current because it's going long distances, or it used to have to actually power up an actual coil at the end in a receiver. So prior to everything being digital, it's a little bit dangerous. You could definitely get shocked pretty badly by telephone lines and things like that. So as a child, that was what was always intriguing to me, was touching the phone lines and feeling it, barefoot with my foot on the slab, concrete, and touching that. And be like, wow, you can feel that. It's pretty crazy. So I guess that was probably what kind of allured me to getting into the field.
Electricity is very, very interesting, and I'm certainly not a master at it. I've wired a couple houses, but it's something
we would call you a Romex jockey.
That's what I am. I'm a weekend Romex jockey. 12-2, 12-3, 120, 121, whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes, yeah.
All right, I got some. I wanted to share this with you. This is one thing I found before my Doom week began, but it was great pickup lines. Have you seen this yet? Great pickup lines that you can use during the government shutdown.
No. It's just some cute.
These are
list.
tweets. Yeah, these are the 16 best shutdown pickup lines, courtesy of Twitter.
Okay.
When this one's kind of. I'm going to start with this different one here.
I'm gonna bite.
These are hilarious.
Okay.
Where have you been? Wait a minute. Where have you been sequestered all my life? That's one pickup line. My resolution continues all night.
Nice.
Yeah. Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but I'm on furlough, so call me, maybe. That's a song, by the way. You've heard the song, right?
No.
Oh my God, this is lost on you. If you don't know the background, it's lost. Unlike some branches of government, I will always listen to you. That's stupid. I should have read these first.
Yeah.
You're essential to me. The library is closed. Mind if I check you out instead?
That's mildly amusing. Mildly.
Hey, girl, I've got a budget to spend by midnight, and we're both off work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right, here we go. This is a good one. You should furlough that zero and appropriate this hero.
You got to get rid of that smartphone, Charlie Mcgrath. Thing is feeding you bad information, my friend.
Congress might be closed, but we can always have a caucus at my place.
That's for the LGBT community. Or the ladies. Maybe the ladies.
Okay. Do you work for the government? Because you shut it down. Nothing.
Yeah. It's nice. It's nice.
All right. Let's see. No, that was dumb. I'm not reading it. You'll really kill me. Okay. Okay. You down for some fourscore play at the Lincoln Memorial? It's unguarded.
It's not true. They wouldn't let those vets there. And Mark Levin, did you hear about this? He said that he would bring 1 million people to D.C. along with all of those. They're shutting it down, the motorcycle gangs that hate America and freedom and love and Obamacare, shutting D.C. down, which I don't know if that really, I like these ideas of shutting the government down by just like, you shut down or you're defunded. There's no money here. But in reality, it is just a way to get people, I think, interested in talking about government spending once again. And maybe now it's time for some austerity. I think this is the shift. This is the big shift because we're already seeing this now in and did we talk about we talked about this on your weekday show. Yeah.
No, wait. About what? Are we talking about the Netherlands?
Well, now it's Britain. Now Britain. They're if you get any kind of money, you're going to have to get compulsory community service. So if you get some benefits, maybe you're on unemployment, you're going to go and clean up trash or something else. And I'm sure they're going to have little block captains and a little Stasi, and they'll get little armbands, and they get to go take all of the other people that the lazy people that need to be encouraged to work, and they'll probably be encouraged to take some free birth control. Wink, wink.
The Untermensch.
I'm telling you.
That's what the Germans call them, which means subhuman. And Doug, you are 100% lockstep in agreement with my point of view on this, which is this is how the country is going to be led into austerity. It's going to be governed by crisis right into the people of this country are going to be made the scapegoat, and they will demand blood for the debts of the nation, blood for the social safety nets that have been just flung out like candy over the last decades. It's all coming home to roost, and the people of this country, regardless, and this is why I find it so comical when I have conversations with my neocon friends who think they're doing well. And you know what? On paper, maybe they are. But when it comes to a point of Greece or Cyprus or Italy or Egypt or Libya or how the rest of the world is going, we don't have to make believe that this can happen because it's happening. When it gets to that point here, I don't care if you think you're in the in crowd because you gave $10,000 to the RNC, or I don't care if you think you're in the in crowd because you're on Obama's tweet list, and you're getting emails sent to you from Joe Biden. You're not. You're not. Wait. People don't count.
Are you telling me that those tweets that I get, and I do follow Barack Obama.
I do too.
I follow him on Twitter.
I do too.
Want to get his tweets. And you're telling me that those are staffers? That's not directly from his magic BlackBerry? iPhone or whatever it is?
Doug, this is DoomCast, and I have to bring some doom your way. Yeah, sir, that is not the prez.
I have been illuminated. Thank you, Charlie Mcgrath.
You've been doomed down. I doomed you down.
You did. You did. I've been out doomed.
That sounded like a WWE. I'm going to doom you down.
Doom. Yeah.
So anyway.
I don't think we can be more doomy than the media circus that has been literally frothing at the mouth and scaring people to death.
Oh, my God.
It's not just the agenda to cut money from certain aspects of government, and it's all targeted. So this is a way to clean house. This is a way to I think, continue to shake out rabble-rousers. Another way to get into the minds of federal employees and shake them out. Part of Barack Obama's little plan here. And I don't want to give him too much credit because there are the corporate sponsors. But to the point that you have this culling, and they go after all the social services. They go after all of the things like the libraries, the few things that you can actually use, or maybe FOIA requests. Getting information for the government. They don't even have money for the fax machine, apparently. These are the kind of things that they're going to take from the from the budget. And so all of it, I think it's great because it shows how disgusting and how also in bed the media is with the government and all of these talking points. It's just this incestuous filth fest, and it's disgusting, Charlie Mcgrath. It makes me want to puke.
Yeah, well, don't puke. I don't want you puking because
I was getting nauseated.
Yeah, I don't want you nauseous. Acid from your stomach will erode your esophagus and your enamel in your teeth. We don't need that, Doug Owen. We need you healthy. Right. So don't puke. But it is incestuous, and it is disgusting, and it is worthy of nausea. And actually, in some of the waiting around yesterday, I was able. And here's the thing: my son, he does not want me around when news is on. I embarrass the hell out of him. And
you scream at the news like it's a sporting event.
I do. What are you
doing?
Yeah.
Oh, you suck.
Yeah, it's exactly what I do, and it's horrible. And I try to check myself, especially when you're waiting for a CAT scan, as we were, and there's 10 people around, and I'm watching the paid plastic Barbie doll beauty tell me how it's inconceivable that we don't raise the debt ceiling. That's inconceivable. We can't do that, and we need to be terrified because the government is shut down. We need to all be afraid and beg government to get together and put us another $1 trillion in debt.
Well, why do they have to? Okay, this is the perfect opportunity to print debt-free money. Perfect opportunity to print debt-free money. Don't acquire any more debt. We can pay that down. It's fine. Just, it might take your great-grandchildren, Charlie, to pay that down, maybe. But...
It ain't getting paid back. We talked about that last week, right? Mathematically, it ain't getting paid back.
No.
This money is not getting paid back.
It doesn't exist anymore.
So you gotta, it doesn't exist. This money doesn't exist. There's not enough of it to pay back the debt that is being shouldered by the people of this country and the West. Period. So what you gotta ask yourself then, if it can't be paid back, and it's all just a bunch of digital ones and zeros. Why have it? So you got to ask yourself, what is the purpose for keep expanding this debt? And Doug, I know I'm a little more conspiratorial than you, but look, it's simple. The more debt that's issued, the more power that is in the hands of the people who issued that debt, regardless if it's erroneous, regardless if it's fraudulent, regardless if we can ever pay it back or not. The people, as en masse around this planet, have given the power to that piece of paper. So this biggest experiment in the world, the animal spirit, everybody giving faith to this dollar or to that currency, is truly building the shackles of enslavement that the world is that's in right now, and it's being all done with fraudulent debt that doesn't exist. You can't pay it back. So let it shut down. Let us default. Let us have a clearing of this debt, because that's what really needs to happen. Let it all come crashing down. And then let's build something that is honest and that is truly for the people. Yay? Do you agree with me on that?
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to do that.
Okay. Well, deep thoughts by Doug Owen.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry. I can outline some plans that I think would work as well, but I don't think that the powers that be.
I agree with you. They're not going to do it. They're going to do something.
Well, and here's the thing. At some point, they're going to have to make some really rash decisions. The dollar's going away. There's going to be something that replaces it. There's going to be counter currencies, and we already have the IMF special drawing right. That's an option. Gold's an option. Backed currencies, rehypothecating debt. There's a lot of options on the table, but now they're getting into kamikaze economics, and I don't want to just bore people to death because there's people that do a much better job actually analyzing it and explaining it. But I was listening to Max Kaiser just the other day talk with this Australian economist, and he was breaking down what the central banks are doing, the Fed, and they're looking towards Japan. And this is the crazy idea that they're just infinite debt, and you can have it owed and transacted, and you create this just basically it's an absent of reality economy that is pretty much fictional, all fictional, and somehow or another, if you can make all of this go ahead and somehow compute and you keep everyone liquefied, because that's really what it comes down to. When you have huge contractions, when you have people that go to the banks and they can't get their money, that's when you have a problem. So as long as you have liquid money and you can continue to have liquid money, this crazy idea is that it doesn't matter. Because as long as you have liquid and as long as you have happy people and as long as you are transitioning this debt and redistributing it through these crazy mechanisms, and this is a philosophy, okay?
Right.
It's a philosophy that it doesn't matter. And so, in the United States, we've had several, I think 2, maybe 3. You can consider there have been 3 central bank failures in this country. The War of 1812 was launched in support of one, and due to this failure, I think we have that check. And the central bank will fail as well. It's going to fall under its own weight, and there's going to be something, or there's going to be chaos. That's the real question. If these politicians don't do anything, and they let these same people that have been criminally complicit in racking up all this fraudulent debt, if they let them create the next system, more complicated, more complex, and incoherent to most normal human beings,
including most people in D.C.,
including myself, then it's going to be really bad.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's going to happen, Doug. That's exactly what's going to happen. There's not even a question in my mind. That is the end goal. You will have the Uber crisis, and then they will come in with the solution. This is what leaders of the IMF have said. This is what leaders of the EU have said. This is what our own Treasury Secretary has said. Global financial governance, and that is inevitable. That is the inevitable push that we're being led to.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. There's been a shift, though. I don't know if you've noticed the meme, but the White House has been warming up to Iran, and Israel is pretty pissed off about this, right? Because it seems like, oh, well, you know what? We're about to have peace. We're about to have peace, and we're about to start having some big energy deals, and there's a lot of things on the table. But mainly, they need Iran and these other countries to continue to circulate dollars. Putting the sanctions on them has been stifling to the U.S. economy, and it's also creating a lot of competition to the dollar. So I think this is strictly economic and strategic. But Bibi Netanyahu went to the UN, and he basically said, we have to be very scared and do not trust, and we need to watch and be vigilant, basically trying to poo-poo the whole deal. But the thing that's really interesting to me is that there's been this huge shift. And it's like, well, we're okay with that. We're okay with Iran once again. And it shows you, I think, the last-ditch efforts to try to save the dollar, or at least use it as a way to kind of have a controlled demolition of some of these other rogue states. Because there's a lot of power in the dollar and having other people hold it. And that's what's really important. We don't have those dollars coming back here to the U.S.
Right. So you're thinking this is a ploy to get Iran involved in the dollar, or just to keep their oil flowing in dollars?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, maybe
I might eat crow later on for that prediction.
Well,
that'll be all right.
All right. Well, why don't we hear the crow? Baka, baka.
Somebody's going to complain about this in the comment section.
Too many crows. Too many crows sounds. I don't know. You know what? I don't know. It could be just it could be a pivot. All right. Let me paint this scenario out to close out the show.
Yes.
I thought of that too. I thought, wow, look at this love affair. Look at this love affair with Iran. But it certainly could be understandable that the powers that be, and I'm not saying just the U.S. and just Israel, but these social engineers who want the global financial governance, I think that when they tried to bomb Syria and get neck deep in that civil war and go in and kill Assad, I think that pushback that happened in the United States and around the world, that truly, Doug, it forced a different direction, and so this could be just an overtack where where this president or this government, regardless if it's Obama or whoever the next neocon is that comes in, can have the cover to say, look, we tried to do it the peaceful way. We tried to do it through legislation and through negotiation, and it failed miserably. So that's kind of what I see is they saw the holy crap moment when the people were pushing back and saying enough is enough, and they thought, well, okay, we'll go this way of negotiation with Syria, and we better put on a happy face with Iran for the moment. But I have no doubt whatsoever, Netanyahu is going to get his wish one day, and that's to attack Iran.
Well, he's trying. I think that the Mossad whacked this Iranian cyber warfare commander. He just died in he was assassinated by two guys on motorcycles. It's kind of the MO of the Mossad. They it's an easy way to get away. And if you look back, there's quite a context of these kind of assassinations. Yeah,
22 pistols, the silencer in the back of the cranium. Bam.
Yeah. And it was either yesterday or early this morning, the Russian embassy in Tripoli, Libya, was attacked. So it's like, it's pretty interesting because these don't seem like the usual targets, and they're kind of polar opposites, but both opposing what's happening in Syria. And so as they talk about destroying all the chemical weapons, we now have the UN Security Council on the ground. We had Bashar al-Assad. He's making the rounds. He talked with France 24. I watched the interview. He was pretty well spoken. Not ready to relinquish control, but the international monitors, the blue helmets, are on the ground. So it's going to be interesting, that affair. I think there's going to be a shift back to that before they go back.
Oh, yeah.
And once
there's going to be
starts going again.
I think they're going to, that'll come back into focus. First of all, again, it brings me to that one question I asked several Doomcasts ago. How did they just let this elephant in the room that they just sit here and ignore it? That Assad was Hitler, Assad was Stalin, Assad was the devil himself. This was the propaganda from our own government, and he had to go before any negotiation, before any peace, Assad has to go. We can't have Assad on this planet.
Well, this is the thing. Nobody right now is paying attention to the fact that now the UN has confirmed that they did not find sarin gas, that there were no chemical weapons. Now, that would have a major impact on the national discussion if that was a national story. But crazy lady running around like a Benny Hill, thing. Yeah, I mean, it was just ridiculous. And then he shoot the lady. She has a baby in the back of the car. I mean, that is not something that's pretty abnormal. I mean, we had that guy named Israel that kind of resembled Jesus. He was on a holy jihad, and he went to the White House and had a gun. I mean, there's a lot of these stories, and that didn't even get as much attention. But it's all about what's in focus at the moment. And so, the CIA still continuing to fund and vet quote-unquote moderate rebels, whatever that means. I mean, a moderate rebel, and encouraging the regime to meet.
Yeah, there's going to be some major infighting there. And Al Qaeda, that is the rebel that is commanding. They're the number one driving force in the so-called rebels that we are funding and we are arming. I don't care what any of these officials say. It ends up in their hands. The same group we're supposed to be terrorized from. I think what happened, they're probably really, really pissed off because I'm imagining there was a CIA agent saying, hey, look, hey, the support, the air support's coming. It's coming, man. Don't you worry about it. We're sending McCain out here, and we're sending Lindsey Graham out there, and we're going to talk about how we need to attack right now. And we were on the precipice, Doug Owen, before I ate crow, of launching Tomahawks in there. And so I'm sure there's some really, really ticked off so-called freedom fighters. So I guess we just got to watch and see what happens. Will some of these inspectors be attacked? Will some more chemical weapons be unleashed by the rebels? Who knows? But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a crazy time in Syria.
Well, and just right there in the region, Egypt is now planning this attack in Gaza. So they're going after militants there. So it's very interesting to see these proxy wars kind of playing out. But at the same time, I think that they do want to have this broader consensus and this broader international government, because you have to keep people kind of playing in that game. I mean, Sergei Lavrov has done a pretty good job for Russia, playing diplomat, being that go-to guy, the voice of reason, or at least it seems so. The U.S. media portrayed Putin as a hero, although on Time magazine they were more interested in Johnny Manziel getting a paycheck than they were in Vladimir Putin, who made the cover in almost every other country that Time is published in. So it's one of the many little propagandist things that proves that they're using domestic propaganda, keeping us wrapped up.
Absolutely.
I was kind of wrapped up in a college football game before we came on DoomCast tonight, but it's just so, because I'm just not going to watch TV and listen to the ridiculousness of this terror storm that is being launched against people through media. It drives me nuts. It makes me mad, like you were saying. It gets you screaming at the TV. I mean, I can't watch it. It's bad for my body.
It is. I know what you mean, but we have to. We have to see what the propagandists, what the spin is going to be, or what the agenda is going to be. And the easiest way to do that is to see what they're trying to sell. But it is hard to sit and watch it and not say something. And you know what? It's hard to not get angry. It's hard to have conversations with people that we consider to be asleep, and you get into some of these topics. And I consider myself to be fairly graceful when it comes into talking about some of these subjects. But it's harder and harder, because I don't know how much more self-evident things have to be for my fellow Americans to wake the hell up and realize what's going on just about every platform. It's social, if it's economic, if it's political, if it's geopolitical. Come on, man. Wake up. Look what's happening. And smell the coffee. And don't forget this. You should furlough that zero and appropriate this hero.
That is horrible. That is horrible. Whoever you got that from on Twitter, you should unfollow immediately. I don't know who it was, but...
Do you work for the government? Because you shut it down.
It's so bad.
Take us out of here, Doug Owen. DC-10 in the books.
All right, there we go. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in, and Sarah for donating as well. She donated $50. Thank you. And to the rest of you, quit being deadbeats and continue to listen to more Doomcast. Number 11 coming up next Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Follow us on Twitter at Doomcast Show, and of course, wideawakenews.com and blacklistednews.com. In the meantime, take care.
Peace out.
Bada, bada.